All right.
All right. So,
Gucci.
kind of a lot to get into, but first things first, there's quite a bit of settings I added to the post collapse mod just to make it easier for you to like and stuff. You can load both mods at the same time. The only caveat is if you want to do the chunk packaging stuff, you want to turn off the generate map because, um, yeah, like you don't want
Oh
to generate
yeah.
map while you're
Okay.
on like the editor, right? So turn that
Okay.
off. The other ones like I can talk about later, but effectively like all the ones that say new map only will only affect like the initial generation, and then like I had this one for like removing crash site, and you can pick some out
Real
like stuff.
quick though, did
Yeah.
you implement the autocomplete border? Like if you select the border type, does it like auto build it?
Oh yeah. Like if you
Oh
have it,
shit.
if you have the auto, if you have the border type created, then it will auto select.
Dude, okay, yeah. No, this is solid, man.
Okay, so save that, and I'll go into my test map. So Smoka, I gave you both mods and the this 111 testing pack chunk
Oh, we had the novice canvas as well, and the
Well, this is the
2.0
one.
novice
This is the
canvas.
novice canvas.
Oh,
This is
oh,
this
okay,
one.
hold
I
on.
just
Yeah.
copied it, and then I've been working on this one. So this is where all of my tiles are in, like the ones I made for the scenario, like the
Okay.
generation and stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, so I made. Well, you had this one here, and I used this road as reference for the roads, like those ones, the intersections, the roundabouts, and I don't know, some parking lots.
Dude,
And
it's
I was just
crazy
picking
that
out.
just with the few ones you made,
Yeah,
it
these
was
are
like,
like the few that I made. Like I didn't make many,
yeah,
but I
it
needed
was.
enough to like test. And then I made like
We
a
should
couple of rails, but
we should stress test to see how big of a prefab we can make, like a 20 by 21, if it would still be efficient.
Wasn't
you
it
can
already
try.
like 20 by 20?
I
No,
didn't
the
test
biggest one was like
anything
two
over
by
two by
two.
two, but it should go higher.
Oh, the yes, I see. Never mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say just play around with it. Honestly, the biggest caveat for all of this is save early, save often, because like you can lose hours of progress from one like little dumb thing that can crash, because Lua crashes hard, and you'll lose all your shit. Even if it like you type into a random input field and it's like, oh, that didn't work, and it just crashes, you lose everything.
Hmm.
Or like lose up till your last save, basically, which is pretty shit. So anytime you go to like,
Maybe we should make like an autosave feature.
well, it does have an autosave feature in Factorio. You could change the autosave to like every minute or something if you
Oh yeah,
are
well,
paranoid,
yeah.
but yeah.
You should be
Um,
paranoid when using this.
Honestly, yeah. Like if you're doing chunk packaging, you probably want to set it 11 minutes so you don't lose too much. But anyway, I'll jump into it. So I believe Smoka, you know some of this, but it's quite a bit of new stuff here. Mainly like if I so like you were talking about auto selecting borders. So I clicked on this chunk. It knows like I've already programmed in here which border types these are. Yeah. So when I select an existing chunk, or it doesn't even have to be an existing chunk. Like if I select anywhere that has a border type that matches, um, it will automatically select it in the list. So like this guy or these ones or the 2x2s, or if it doesn't match, it'll let you know because it'll
So
do
it
the
auto selects it
rules.
already. Oh, okay, dude.
Yeah.
What if you? Oh, man, it's like
So you can
this.
select whatever
Oh,
you
it
want
can
if you have
find which one it is just based off of like what's the tiles that are on the ground.
yeah.
Oh,
So like
that's
if I
so
go
based.
and if I set this to like I don't know, road or something.
Dude, I
Or
forgot I came up with these ideas. That's the that's the
yeah, dude.
stupidest part.
City and like I don't know.
I'm the one that made all these suggestions, and you
So like if
just
you
like.
just made this right, like, and I can show this even further. Like if I go grab this area and just paste it like over here.
Yeah, because you
And
have
then
to.
select this, it will automatically, like it will know what border edge this is.
This is so powerful.
So like how I built all of like these roundabouts and stuff and like these intersections is I just chose the border edges all the way down, and then I just filled it in. Like just I used like the clone tool and just copied in, and then made, I don't know. I didn't
That's
spend
the
too much time
that's
on
the
this.
one hard coded one, right?
What?
The roads, like the or is it like the
Nothing's
ones that
hard
are?
coded, dude. There's only, well, okay, that's a lie. There's two that are hard coded. There's the any and none, and
Oh
I
yeah, it's true.
highly
Yeah.
suggest that you do not use either of these. Like, there's, if you don't really know what you're doing, you should not use those. Like you, like yeah, they're very like specific in what they are.
Forgot what they were supposed to be for again. Wasn't it
Any
for like?
matches with literally anything, which
Yeah,
you
that's gonna
probably
break
do not
shit.
want. Like basically, if you see this green star on something, then you probably should. It probably is telling you that you should make a border, or it can't find the border type. Like for example,
The none one though, is going to be useful though, because that's going to be like borders of biomes.
none is specifically bordering with base Factorio, which I might change
Yeah.
it to like base Factorio or something, so it's more.
Yeah, we
explicit.
should do that.
But like for example, like if I have this road and it knows what this road is, and then if I fuck it up, like I put something over it, it's going to know that you messed it up because it can't select it. And then if I like reselect it, it will just paste over and, you know, fix it. But if you see the like border type selected properly, then you know that it's proper, like it's gonna match.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, like, never mind. I'm kind of dumb. It's because I forgot that like if you just select you just need one border for the roads to align like that. Anyways, it's your job
Well,
to
there's two
fix it.
borders for the roads.
Oh.
There's
Oh.
right, because the roads specifically are weird because they're odd, right? So
Okay.
they
Yeah.
have to
So
match against each other, or else, like if you match them evenly, it would end up like this. But you notice,
yeah.
like in the preview
Yeah.
videos and stuff, they're all perfect, and that's because the game knows to match this border only with this border. It does not match this orange with the other orange ones. It always matches orange with purple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which
Wasn't it that you can like tell which border can when creating the border? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
so
that
without
part. Yeah.
getting, I don't know, I think Smokey knows some of this, but like without getting into too much, there's this border connections piece down here. It right now it only works with one. So this is basically saying this is the border that this border matches with. So whatever this one is called up here, this one will match with this one. So if I go into southwest, I don't know, I just call them north, south, and east, west, but if I go into this one will have the other one in. So like that means that this one matches with this one, and this one matches with that one. So I basically told them that like this is your other border, right? So instead of like, for example, if I go to like the city edge, city matches with city, right? Because city is the is
The
just
concrete,
like this,
yeah.
like this is city, right? So like for example, this one, it doesn't matter, right? Like it can match with itself. Most borders will probably match with themselves, right? But if it doesn't, then that's when you would use something different down here. But pretty much always like whatever name you have for the border type up here is going to match with the border type down here. And technically it lets you add more right now, but it only actually checks the first one. So it only works with one edge right now, which
I mean, you don't really need more than that.
I know. Like
for
I
now,
actually
at
thought
least.
about ripping it all out and making it only select one, but it doesn't hurt anything to keep it in here as many for now. But as long
Don't
as you
you
know,
want it to be able to have more options so it can generate
Yeah.
more randomly?
like maybe later, yeah. So that's why I left the UI like this, But
Yeah,
just so
because
you
like
know, like if you
for
put a
making
second one in here,
biomes.
it's not even gonna look at this.
Yeah, because
Right
like
now.
in the future we might have like different biomes and stuff, so we could have like a filler biome, and it could just like, if it's not roads or infrastructure, it doesn't matter if the tiles like line up perfectly. Like if
Yeah,
we're making
exactly. Like maybe you
marshland,
have
for
different
example.
like border types, and it has like I don't know different
Yeah,
blends
yeah,
of
that sort of
stuff
shit.
against
Yeah.
it or whatever, Um, but yeah, so I guess we dived into a little bit of the border type stuff, but that's fine. Like that's pretty important and a pretty big change that came out of this.
You know
But
what, maybe we should make that canvas like an official thing, where like as you get the save file with the project.
you
That way
mean this
people
guy?
like, yeah, this map. I mean, we should clean it up, but like, we should make like an official one where you get all the vanilla tiles that we provide with the project.
So what I was thinking is that like for example in this list, like, and this list is looks like and we've talked about how to make this look better, like the blueprint system or blah blah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah.
what I was thinking is that there'd be like another. Now these are like name buttons right now, but we make them like I don't know symbols or something. Like delete would be like a trash can and blah blah. But I was thinking that you'd have a button here that if it didn't actually exist in the map, so like for example, if I jump to this city by one, if this didn't exist in the map, then instead of saying like jump to here, it would have another button that like you could drop it down. So you could press a
Oh,
button and then like drop it in. So
yeah.
you could take the whole like vanilla base set, load it in, and then like if you wanted to edit one, you could drop it in, edit it, and resave it or something. If we allow them to save the vanilla ones or whatever. But this way, like, because we need a way to import them, and I don't have that right now. So like for
How many
example,
lines of
like
code? How many lines of code? I'm just curious. Like,
I don't know, probably like 10K more, probably more. I don't know, a
no, there
lot.
has to be more, dude. I
It's a lot of
think base
complex code. Like
Factorio.
it's not really like lines of code that are like I don't know. It's not really about lines
No,
of
it's the
code.
logic. It's still the logic that
It's
counts. But like, it's efficient.
it's
Just seeing how fast the stuff loads.
yeah, I'm super
There's
happy.
like,
We're gonna get into like the map gen, and it's I'm super happy about it.
it's
But
gonna
either
be
way, okay.
crazy, dude.
So we're gonna like for the reason why I need an import and stuff is like say for example like Smoke is working on a whole bunch, and he makes a ton of like really nice map sets, and then like say for example Maelstrom, you have some time, and you have some ideas, and you want to make some, right? We should
Yeah.
have it so that multiple people obviously can work on the same project together on different maps and then be able to collect those together and then make one tile set that we use for the mod, right? Like we have to have that ability. That's why I need like some sort of import
What if I
over here.
contacted my friend to make a website for this project that looks like the alt F, like the alt Factorio one? Uh,
Realistically, it'd be easier maybe if like we could just have a dedicated server that
I mean, there's
like
there's in this
Well, no,
server
like
there's
multiple,
the
like you could go offline and build a whole ton, and all it is JSON files. Like you can just upload that to like even like
yeah,
fucking
it's
paste bin.
the channel prefabs that are
Right.
done is for that. I created that one for that, and also border types, because are border types file types that you can share as well?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So border types, we're going to share them in border types.
Yeah, like all
We
of
should
the
make.
stuff that you build locally is going to be something that you can share, and
We should make
oh,
like
I can't
very
use the
strict
name.
rules for those channels though, so that
Um,
they people just don't like post in there. Like really strictly
actually,
enforced channels.
this will be something
shit, I
that
can't
should
even
be
post in
implemented.
there.
Oh shit, yo, let me change that.
Should I post in half these channels?
Oh
Wait,
yeah, you
really?
can see my fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just I removed you from admin. I don't know why I did that.
um,
Can you do it now?
what?
Yep.
Okay, okay, it works.
Okay, so
Prefabs
one
that are
thing I wanted
done.
to show.
Yeah, all right.
So you were talking about like export and importing stuff.
Yeah.
So when this exports, so when I press this export all button, and it exports all this like stuff. I'm gonna have another button here that exports like the ones you've changed instead of all, because all is gonna eventually take like a long time. But when you do that, it puts a file inside of your script output, whatever like your file name is. So like it's whatever your map name is called, and then inside of there it has basically just all of the like files.
You know
So,
what
like,
would be cool is we have like a dedicated channel in this server that has like we could program a bot, and when you press that button in game, it like uploads the stuff, your files,
we might
into
be
the
able to
channel.
solve that. I don't know if we can connect to websites from Factorio, but we could take a look at it. But like Smoka, when you do an export, you'll see two folders. You'll see imports and you'll see debug. Debug is all of the exact same files, but they're all JSON files. So like I can take this and like load it up in a text editor or like online or whatever, and you can actually just read these files. The Lua files that are in here are all like
That's what the game sees.
encoded. So you'll see
Okay.
like these are all like 5 kilobyte, 10 kilobyte, whatever. And then if I go to the JSON files, like these are like 65, 100, blah blah. So like all of the files and all the stuff that I have right now for this is like 500 kilobytes.
For how many?
453. Oh, how many
Oh.
package chunks?
Yeah.
54.
Yeah, still, that's crazy small.
Yeah, because like it's really nice. This is using the in-game stuff. There's a function called like encoded string or something inside of Factorio.
For blueprints?
It just lets you it like zips and encodes the string, which is really nice. It's what they use to like share blueprints in the game. But
Yeah.
I'm using it to like just pack down these files. So this whole thing is like really tiny. But you'll see there's this package chunk folder. This has each of those, like literally just these, right? And then in the top layer, there's each of these. So here's the borders, right? And then there's this import function, which is like basically just importing all of these to make it really easy. So I don't have to import like a million files. And then there's the world layers, which we'll talk about in a bit. But effectively, this is like when we split the world into different regions and biomes and stuff, this is what world layers is all about. So, but yeah, that's basically what it's exporting. But this imports folder is what you drag into the Nauvis post collapse mod folder. So I would literally copy this folder, go out back into Factorio, go into mods, go into my Nauvis post collapse mod, delete this imports folder, delete this guy, and then paste in my new one. And that will
merge them?
You don't want to merge them. You want to delete and replace right now.
Okay, right now. Okay.
Right now. Later on, we'll do all kinds of like merging and
Okay,
whatnot,
okay.
Right now is just like full delete and replace. And then basically restart Factorio. And now the Nauvis post collapse mod has all your new tile sets. So when it does the map generation, it'll have all the new stuff.
Nice.
So that's how to like export and import, which is pretty vital, being able to test all this stuff. But yeah, that's how that works. That's through the. Oh yeah, there's hotkeys to open on these guys. I put the hotkeys on the. I don't know how
Nice.
to like these yet, but
Yeah,
they'll
because
have
it was the
hotkeys.
hotkeys before.
Hmm.
It was the hotkeys only before. I remember that.
Yeah,
That was a
they're all the
confusing
same
time.
icon, so it's not super nice. But they're all here as buttons, and they're all like I don't have to touch that. It's all hotkeys. So
We could make like we could reuse some of the icons from the base game.
yeah, there's
Oh,
a bunch.
I think
in
I
here
got.
that I've used. But oh yeah, I can turn on the names here.
Ooh,
So I can
nice.
see like all my names. So basically, wherever you have a name, is where you know, have a saved chunk. Yeah. I also have a resave button here. This is really like a debug thing. Probably will never need to use this. This is really like when I was coding, if I added some new property to the package chunk, instead of having to open every single one and save them, I could just hit this save all button. So you'll never have to like press this. I don't know, I just have it here for me, but yeah, you're gonna like go in here and press this guy and like for example, actually I can show this. If I go into my script output and I just nuke this guy, so it's gone, and then I hit export all. So there's a loading bar, but I couldn't figure out how to make it nice, so you hit it and the game just freezes basically until it finishes. But if it finishes, it'll give you a little export all. This will turn green, and then if I go back here, I'll see that I have all that stuff again. So this is all back here. Yeah, it'll be by your map name. So if you rename this map to something else, like that isn't just so, I don't know, shit name, then it'll be whatever name your save file is. So whatever like this is. Other new features that I should probably go into. I think you probably remember some of this other stuff, but I'll just kind of go through it a little bit more. I added a little bit of niceties. So if you're in here and you want to actually like edit it, if you change something on this tile, so oh my god, the cats are going bananas. If I like add something on here, I don't know, you'll see that it doesn't show up on here, and before you had to like deselect and reselect, you can just hit refresh selection now and it'll just pull it in.
Okay.
So make it a little bit easier. Before, yeah, you had to kind of like, I don't know, jankily reset. There's some selections here down here that really matter towards how the map generation works. Which I don't have a heading here. I guess I should put a heading, but the rarity is we're gonna have, and Maelstrom and I have talked about this a bunch, but effectively this number that's here,
right?
The higher that it is, the more common it is, the low it is, the more rare it is. So if I set this to like a really high value, this is going to show up all the fucking time, like everywhere. But if I set it to 0, it will never select it unless it absolutely has to, which is important sometimes. Sometimes like for example, actually give a good example of that. These like road ends, like these road ends, if I go to, I need a search actually now that I think about it. That would be nice. Yeah, this dead end road. So like this dead end road, I pretty much never want this, so I set it to a really low value. And then this double dead end, like honestly, you probably never want this to appear, so you could just set that to 0. Which means like it will never try to put that in unless for some forsaken reason the map gen ended up in this state and it had to put this here, because else it's just going to put nothing. Like you're going to end up with basically just Factorio backdrop behind it, which later on we'll probably have some like default tile, like I don't know, just like a city block or something, just so it doesn't look like absolute. But yeah, you'll notice this when you do map generation. If you're missing a tile, there'll just be a literal missing tile there, which is kind of like telling you, hey, this specific spot, you need to like make one for this spot, which I'm going to put something in the map generation too that will help us out. That'll basically give you like a list of stuff that you're missing, and then we can add it in and whatever. But that's what the rarity is all about. So like for example, I put the like single roads, which one's the, not the turns, oh that's that, street right now. Oh, I'm getting lost already. This guy. No, not that guy. No. Northeast, northwest. Definitely need a better like naming scheme. This guy. So I put this one as a higher because I wanted more straights in my city. But basically, depending on how you have these rarities, it will vastly change the look of the city generation. And whatever, like biome generation or what have you. Like the more that you have on here, this tile will just show up more. And then again, does that make sense? Just before I continue. Okay. So for example, like if I made the corners, like I don't know, like I made this specific corner like really common, then I'll have a lot more like twisty cities, you know, like there will be a lot less straight lines. Which I don't know, maybe on like sub-regions or stuff like that, we like change the values around, I don't know, but yeah. Then there's another like few little like checkbox options. These are also pretty important. So for like the roads, since these border edges matter if they're flipped, I do not want to have allow flip on, because that will screw it up. And you'll notice because all of a sudden it'll be like kind of mismatching border edges, since this border edge is not
like
flippable.
Even areas where it doesn't matter, because it wouldn't be mismatched because it's even and not odd.
Yeah, like if it's even, like if it's rails, like maybe you could do it. But if it's like this city block, like you can have it like allow flip because it doesn't matter.
Well, right? Roads too. There can be some road designs that are even numbered and not odd numbered.
Yeah, like if you do a highway or something and they're even numbered, that would work. Like basically if your border
flipping would work, right? And
yeah. If it's even, and like if you basically were to copy the top half and paste it on the bottom, and if it works, or if like
if it's symmetrical, if it's perfectly symmetrical, you should be able to flip it.
Yeah, you can flip it. Rotate, most of these you would probably want to do rotate. I don't know, there might be specific cases where you don't want to rotate. You just check that off. The is layer hub. So if I find...
So actually, how does allow rotate work on a straightaway section like that?
Yes, so for example, this section, basically picture it, instead of being left, just right, it's up, down.
North, south, that's what that means? All right, cool.
Yeah, but not only that, like this, since this side is like the orange border could be here, could be up top, could be on this side, could be underneath.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, okay.
So instead of having me to like create each like 4 of those, I just made this one, and I'm done.
Beautiful.
Right, absolutely. Like this one counts for 4 different orientations right now. Right. Which is kind of why like the roads are a little bit kind of because you have to make all the orientations, but because it's because it's uneven. Whereas like if we had an even one, you would only need 1 for all 4 of these.
I'm gonna try my darndest to make as many even things as I can and
make
a good road system that works evenly.
Yeah, like if you have to match,
try to keep it simple.
A different border with a different border, then it does like basically just it puts how many tiles you have to make to the power of, or like 2 to the power of n. I don't know. It goes like off. You have to make a lot more, right?
I'm gonna have.
It's like the reason why I have like a whole load of these intersections and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because, I was wondering, what was up going on here?
Because like if I close this, right, and I click on this one, right, like this is all 4 orange, and then I have all 4 but 1. And then all 4 but this one, right? All 4 but these 2. And then that one.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid that as much as I can. I'm gonna try my darndest to make a good symmetrical even system.
Yeah, so it's kind of a pain in the ass if you end up with that. Same for like the roundabouts. Like
okay, it's all coming together. What's going on out here? Yeah.
You know, that's why I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my.
I didn't even do all these. I got lazy. You know? Like I only did this one, and this one, and like I didn't do all of them just because I didn't feel like doing it.
Sorry, Maelstrom. It ain't gonna be no odd number roads. I'm gonna make an even road.
But honestly, if you can make it look nice, like try.
No, the road lines are gonna look so ugly if you do them too wide, dude.
There won't be road lines. We're making roads.
Nah, dude.
Dirt roads. Okay.
Testing. I'm just.
Dirt roads would be
I'm
fine.
discussing
okay?
with the
Proof of
with the artist.
concept, mate. It's proof of concept.
I
I'm gonna
know.
try it out. I'm gonna
It'll
try.
take you-
I'm not
like,
gonna give
honestly-
up on the concept.
Honestly,
I'm
Smoka?
gonna try to make them even roads.
Honestly, Smoka, if you wanted, you can just make one road border, and then we can go back in later and add in all the other like chunks. You know, like
I'm not giving
just
up.
because it's proof of
Not
concept,
giving
it doesn't have to like doesn't have to. I just made it look nice for the demo, but it doesn't have to. Like, it's just making like it work. But yeah, that makes sense why I did that and all that, right? Same thing like here, what's going on, right? Like I had to do all of the different orientations of the colors, which,
Goodness.
yeah, which is it's. I agree, and it gets worse the bigger the tile is, right? Like it gets even more nasty.
Really,
so,
no, absolutely that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm not following 100%. I'm speaking with the 3D artist. He's got a couple questions. So yeah, should be good now.
All good. So the other thing here is this is layer hub. So what this is when it starts the city. So it's gonna pick a location wherever. Like I think it's literally the ground zero where you spawn. That location is like the exact middle of the city right now, and it will pick if a hub layer exists, or actually.
Oh, like a biome center.
Yeah, like there's this mod setting.
The
Has
biome
hub.
nodes.
So if you have a hub in your biome or your city or whatever, you would check this off. If you, obviously this isn't going to be a setting later, like it's going to just know. But for now, like it's manual. You'll just check this off if you have one. If you don't, and I can show you an example of that later. But so for example, I have a city center. Oh my god, my cat freaking out. I have this city center, which I could jump to. So this is my city center, and you might have noticed, like in the demo video, this is what spawned in the middle. I added some stuff here, but it takes this, puts this chunk down, and then it builds out from here. Like it just goes.
And if it's not existing, then it'll do it in the corner, like that other video you showed us.
If it's not existing, so here, okay, I'll just show you. Quit. So I will go settings. I'll turn on generate map. So I have the has hub on right now, and I will jump into single player, new game. So I got my hub, right? This is the like.
It's upside down even. Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the rotator,
Nice.
right?
It's working.
So it's working just fine. And if I quit, go settings, mod settings, turn off layer hub, save, new game. Now it's just gonna pick a tile. So it just picked a four-way
Nice.
intersection.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know.
there's no hub on this land. There's no hub here. Also, look how fast it spawns. It's so fast. Dude, I need to test this on my laptop. Like,
Is it
But-
faster than just like vanilla generation?
no,
Like if you would have just made a
it is
normal.
not. But like, see how it says it's finished? That means it's done. Like all of this that's spawning out here, this is spawning in as fast as vanilla generation is. You can see
Pretty
like,
much, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you can see vanilla spawning right next to
You'd
it.
never be this fast, yeah.
Yeah, it's already done. Like it already knows what block is gonna go here. So when I go
Yeah,
up,
it's not
it
showing yet, but it's
highway.
already there, yeah.
It's just filling it. It's already done, right? It's just like the view or whatever. Now,
Yeah.
if I quit, and if now I'm generating a 10 chunk radius, so it's technically I think 21 by 21 right now, or no, 20 by 20. Yeah, so it's 2 times this number because I have the ability to make a circle too. So I can do circle, and then I can change this to, let's say 100. Okay.
Oh, dude.
All right. So this is 200
Okay.
by 200.
Yeah,
squares,
alright, okay.
All right. Ready? Now it's gonna lag, obviously.
Your
because it has
concept
to
of
figure out
your
the city, okay?
perception of lag compared to mine is so different. I'm used to playing games at like 3 FPS.
Okay, but wait. Okay. But I mean, like, it's like this isn't lag. Like it's generating enough.
Yeah, it's just a lag spike.
Yeah, it's like it's waiting till it generates, which is, we'll talk about this in a bit, but effectively, like, I'm thinking about maybe making a little tutorial land where you sit for a little while, right?
Wow, that
While
really
it-
wasn't that long at all.
Okay, but it's not done. It's not done yet. All that it's
No,
done.
but like still, I still thought that would take longer. Yeah, it's not
Right.
finished, but like
But
I
it's-
still thought that would take longer.
Oh, actually,
Wow.
it is finished.
Wow.
Okay, so if I go
no,
editor,
these
or
are
like,
stupid numbers too.
actually, it,
Those are 100 that's a stupid number.
200.
Wow, that's fast.
It's the radius.
Dude,
Okay.
Wait till we have like custom
Okay, I have
vehicles.
a
and
car
all these
here, right? I put
buildings
some
and all
cars
that.
out here.
It's
So
gonna be
like, I could
nuts.
just drive, right? We can just drive and drive and drive, man. Okay, so if I go editor, okay, there's my car, right? Okay, watch this.
All right, what if you enable the setting to make only certain tiles, like replace the land below?
I don't know if we can do
Those-
this. I'm thinking this is like a rasterization that Factorio does to make it look the way that it does. Like, I'm pretty sure this is actually just an image. Like, see how it doesn't look like tiles? Like, I think it's actually just like a weird image, but anyway, there's
I mean,
the edge of the
I
city.
think they have a blog post about how it works now.
Yeah,
like-
that's
100 tiles out, and
yeah,
it's
that's
a
a
circle.
little big. That's a little too big.
It's huge, dude. So that leg that I got at the start was it figuring out where tiles go where, and it's done. All of this is just painting. It's finished,
Yeah,
right?
nice man, easy peasy.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah, the
It just
trick,
works.
The trick word here, the magic word here is just.
It just does it. It just,
just
does
works.
it. Okay.
Just do it. Yeah, that just do it took 6 months.
Hey man, it's all good. We got there, and it works fast.
Oh no,
so,
we got no.
so that's the with and without hub, right? So if you have a biome, like if you're working on like jungle or mountains or some shit, you probably won't have there's no hub in the fucking mountains.
I
But,
mean,
like,
we
if
could
you're doing
make
downtown-
the hub. What if we made the hub the node itself, like the node point, the intersection points? Because the nodes are going to be kind of like what Juju's working on. That's what I had in
Well,
mind.
not really. Like the hub is like, I'm thinking it's like where you go to like do. It's like the center of the city, right? It'd be like, well, it's the center of the region, which matters because you might have a. I was thinking about this. It'd be kind of cool. You could have like a.
Wouldn't that be the
downtown
node
hub.
point, the center?
No, it's the center of the region that is generating. So you could have a center to the downtown.
Oh, okay,
You could
yeah,
have
yeah.
you could have a hub in the industrial. You could have a hub in like say the residential, or like, and you could make them different things. So like maybe the hub in the residential is like a library, and the hub in the industrial land is like
We
I don't
could
know,
we
some,
could
like,
break up
facility or
cities to
some
have
shit
different
and blah, blah,
biomes, like
you know?
microbiomes, like neighborhoods.
it also
This is
randomly-
only one city though. How does it?
Okay,
work?
so yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like if I go back to
The rest of the map will generate like normal. What about like more cities afterwards?
right. Okay, I'll get into that.
Other-
So right now, this is literally just generating a test area. It's a circle. This is not what it's gonna look like later, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying though, this is like it's generating this, right? And this is like I fill it all in. So this is like a testing area for you to basically double check when you made, like, did you make your borders right? Did you make, like, did the things that you make actually even show up?
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's just testing stuff. When we have actual like generation, it's gonna pick all kinds of crazy shapes and whatever, and it's gonna be flowing and weird and like either the Veroni algorithms that we've been talking about or something else or whatever. All this algorithm does is I gave it the space of this circle and it filled it. That's what it does. It got the centroid, the middle. I gave it a circle shape, like all these tiles inside of here, and told it like fill this area. As if you like had the paint bucket in like MS Paint and you click the middle and it filled it. That's what it's doing. So if we give it a weird shape, it will fill the weird shape. And that's the game plan. So we
Yeah.
would have like, and they're all different regions. So like the region that I have here, right, is cities, downtown. If I change this to something else and I have a different tile set, it will generate that instead. So if I made cities and I made a region called industrial or residential or something, it would spawn all my
spawn that?
residential
Okay.
tiles, right? And that's a way right now just to test it, right?
I
We
didn't
can
think about
differentiate
that.
those
That's a
in
good
the
idea.
editor.
Yes.
We can.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
if I go back to the editor and I come back into my funky file name. So that's what I was talking about when I mentioned on here, there's this selected layer region.
Nice.
When I go to any one of these, like the city 2x2, I will see that it has cities downtown because that's the one I was doing, right? So in here, I have a couple other examples like cities industrial and biomes desert. You can make your own. This is just ones that I have prefabbed, but if you open up the world layering system, you get this guy, which has a lot of shit in it, I understand.
Beautiful.
What matters here, though, is that there's this cities downtown. That's exactly what we're looking at before, right? We have our cities downtown, we have our cities industrial, and we have our biomes desert. Okay?
Absolutely
All the values
brilliant.
that are in here are basically like, you know, what humidity it shows up in. None of this does anything yet. None of these values do anything yet. The only thing that matters right now is the name of it. That's really it. And then you can attach the name of it to something. So if I make like cities or biomes jungle, right? I make a biome jungle, I hit save, and then I open up this guy. I will now have biomes jungle. So if you want to make mountains, whatever the hell, it's probably going to be in biomes. But
Nice.
you
Yeah.
can picture this as like,
It's all pretty straightforward. Yeah.
basically how this works is the number that's up here, which should probably be higher. But basically, whatever number this is, so this is say 3, and this biomes is 2, the city will go on top of the biome. So if there's a city there, it will draw the city first. If there's a biome underneath, then it will draw the biome. So if it happens to be like a city inside of a desert, if there's missing tiles in the city, then it would bleed through into whatever biome is underneath, or none maybe.
Nice.
So that's how that
Well
would work.
done.
So we can
Well
like
done.
we can make more too. Like I don't know what the you want to make. It's kind of weird, but you could have like underground.
Probably
right?
rural roads and like
Yeah, like cities
like
rural or
townships or
yeah,
different.
like you could
Yeah,
do all
yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of crap.
The one thing that I will note that I am missing here right now that is not in the current version, which is a way to select which surface it spawns on. So right now it's just assumed that these are spawning on Nauvis. So when you do generation in there, it will only draw anything on the base map. Like it's hard coded to do that right now. However, like when we make like underground and stuff, I'll have a little like selector here for like whether or not you want Nauvis by like default or you want to select like underground or I don't know, whatever the hell else, right? That's missing from here right now, but that's how that works though. So if you want to make a different one in this dropdown, that's in this guy. Just open this guy up, and you can just create new down here, call it something, hit save, and it'll you'll have to close and like reopen this guy, but it'll exist in there then. And yeah, that's how that works. If I open up any of these other ones, I think I have one, yeah, like city industrial one. So like for example, if I loaded in city industrial, it only has this tile and it'll just spread that everywhere because that's all it has.
I mean, it'll rotate it though.
Yeah, it'll rotate it and it'll flip it because I have flip, so it'll like
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
spread this everywhere. Actually, this is a good example of the flip where the flip acts kind of, I might have messed something up on the flip with like entities because I noticed when it flips it, it gets the inserters backwards. Which
Oh,
I think I need to look.
does
into
it really
that
matter
shit.
though? Because like half of these are gonna be ruins anyway. So.
I know, but just a note. Also, oh yeah, if I close this guy. Like
Yeah, I
you
might
can
want
see
to
I have
fix
a
that
different
actually if
border
someone
here.
tries to make some functional stuff.
Like this one, I have a city industrial border, which is, I don't know, I just made it blue just so it looks different, whatever. Something else you might have noticed is that when I got into a car, it drove. I had fuel. So I added a little system in here.
I was gonna say, like,
I added a little loot system in this so far.
oh really?
So-
Already?
A very
it's
simple
randomized.
one, okay? It's very basic. And later on, we'll do something
Get
crazy. but-
artillery turrets.
Okay, so I have a crate here. It looks like it has 75 plates, 30, a gun, some burner miners. I got some ammo, some walls. In this car, I have like a bunch of stuff, right? Okay, so remember that, and I'll go into. I didn't actually turn off the map generation. I think that didn't matter because I already had the save loaded. Which isn't general, you should probably turn this off. I don't think it'll always activate if you're on an existing map, but just be careful with that so you don't like, I don't know, you can always reload your save. It's not that big of a deal, but if I jump in here. Now, okay, so I had like 75 plates and stuff, right? Well, no, I don't, okay? So how this system works is the two numbers I had there, I had 25 iron plates and I had a 50 stack. What it does is it takes if you have two stacks of something, it takes the lowest number and the highest number, and it gives you a random number in between them. So 25 was my minimum and 50 was my maximum. In this game, I got 45. So if I restart this, and if I go back to that car, or this box, now I got 46. It's close, but
Nice.
it's the same. But it means in like any of this stuff, I have like different mounts. I got some walls. I got some like. If you have a one stack of something, it either will spawn nothing of it, or it will spawn the item. If you have a number that's greater than 1, it will spawn between 1 and that number. So if I have like 20 of something, it will spawn between 1 and 20. If I have a stack of 1, or a stack of say 10 and a stack of 30, it will spawn a number of that item between 10 and 30. So it's like a range.
Is this
What's the percentage between 0 and 1? 50-50?
50-50. It's just really simple right now.
One thing you might want to do is for modded vehicles, for example, if you have like heavy tank or whatever, maybe it should look to fill those vehicles with items of that mod specifically.
Oh yeah, dude, like I already thought of like a much more complex looting system. I just wanted something in the game, honestly, so I could just play it.
Okay. That's gonna be crazy, dude.
Because I wanted some like base materials, and I wanted to like drive around and stuff. But yeah, if I go back to this box, you'll see I had like a range of plates and like a range of ammo, and in this truck I had like a range, or the car had a range of like stuff. So you can play around with that, and like I don't know if you want to like do a little play
The
testing
fabled
stuff.
car with nuclear fuel in it already. Oh, maybe okay. One thing
yeah,
you should do.
I can take,
make it so
you
that
saw I had fuel too. Like whatever fuel you have here will show up. This
Dude,
is not looted. Only trunks.
Make
and
it so
chests and
it
stuff
changes
are.
the color of vehicles. Like it randomizes the color of vehicles and entities.
Yeah, you probably can do that. Like I mean, I
That
have
would-
a gray, and you can like.
Yeah, right.
I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if
like
you
if,
can
Dude, the
change-
cars always being that same identical gray killed me. Like,
Yeah,
having
yeah,
some
no,
random
no.
colors would be awesome.
I don't know
change
if
it
you
so that
can
it can
in
be
base
like any
Factorio,
color.
like, recolor it. Do you know how you can do that?
It might be tough, but I'm sure it could be doable to make those
It'd be
Bond
worth it.
cars
You know what?
have random colors.
You probably can't do it in the editor, but I could probably do it when I spawn it. I can take a look at that. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
like
That'd be
colors
such a
and
small little thing.
Because like
but
the
it'd-
thing is though,
Yeah, we can give it like a
if
color
we
distribution,
wanna,
right?
for the houses, we wanted to make the houses like maybe have different colors, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, like tints and
that'll
stuff, right?
that'll force us to make them vehicles anyways as well. Because we
True.
can't do that if it's an
Oh.
entity.
Oh yeah, true. Because can you color cargo wagons?
You can color trains. We
You
can make
color
them trains.
I don't think you can color cargo wagons though.
Wait, you just make a resized train be a house? A resized, retextured
Yeah,
train?
yeah. Because
Here's my
for the
little testing
hitbox, we're gonna
spot.
have to make them trains. Because when the
How
houses
do
are gonna
other
be like
mods do it? How does like Factorissimo do it with like its big warehouse entity?
no, it's because like the houses
they
are
have
gonna be
just, like,
the
a bunch
only
of
buildings that
entities.
are like 45-degree angle as well. So for the
Yeah.
hitboxes to work, we're gonna have to make them trains. Like we don't have a choice.
This was pretty fun actually. I made this little testing guy for trains because I had it where I didn't the mod didn't know that you had to draw the tracks before the cars, so like half of these cars wouldn't even show up in here. But I fixed that, so and the rotation of like the vehicles and whatever. So this is the reason why this is here is like a little testing spot for vehicles. So in case you're wondering.
Maybe rotation of vehicles would help as well. Like give them a little bit of angle, plus or minus like 15 degrees.
You can't do that in here, but you can do it when you spawn it. I found like I don't know. I don't think I showed you the video of it, but you can spawn them in any rotation. So I could like, yeah, like, you know, angle them by plus or minus 10 degrees or something.
Nice.
Yeah, if you randomize that, it would help because
so they don't look like.
Then you can place them in the editor like following the cardinal directions. But then if the game like randomizes the position,
we could
then
even have like settings over here where it like we can add additional options or something on this where it's just like angle the car by like plus or minus, because somebody probably wouldn't be angled if they're, I don't know, on like a straightaway like this. Like they wouldn't be like.
I mean, they're gonna be abandoned.
I guess that's true.
Like about 5 degrees.
But we can make it like more creative later, is what I'm
perfectly
saying.
straight.
What else do I need to go into? So yeah, there's this, there's those.
I think 15 degrees would be a good one, either direction.
Yeah, I was gonna make notes while we played.
Man, this is gonna get so crazy, man. Like, sorry for the swearing. I know we shouldn't.
What was it? Carbon degrees. What other things did we talk about? Oh, surface.
Nuts.
On. What was that? The world. Yeah, world layering. Oh, cars, colors. Because we could do some like distribution of colors where, depending on.
Yeah, I was thinking that because like some colors would be
cars
goofy.
Like, tend towards white and black and then colored or something. Or we could like pick colors that we think look good on the cars, because like probably not every color is gonna look legit, you know.
I think like pastel colors look really good in Factorio in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we could pick
like
certain colors, and then the player, I mean,
yeah,
they
we
get
also
in,
talked
it'll
about how
override
like,
anyway.
we should probably make our own car model, because the Factorio car looks very much like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
it doesn't
I'm
look
gonna
very
work on the houses.
pre-apocalyptic.
I'm gonna work on the houses, but the goal after that is to work on vehicles. I have like my list of vehicles I want to make is 7 cars of different tiers, and I've been thinking about maybe make them like upgradable, so with armor and stuff, and you would see the visual difference. Then there would be 1 fire truck, 1 police car, 1 ambulance, because I mean, it makes no sense not to have those.
True.
Cool. Then there was 1 box truck, and the last vehicle I think we should try to implement is like semi-trucks. I think that would be very cool.
Yeah,
especially if you can automate them.
They would definitely be their own like badge.
Yeah, no, they're going to be a nightmare to make.
It'd be really cool if we could pull it off. I agree.
That'd be like a cool caveat.
Yeah.
Trucking in Factorio, dude,
like,
with like customized missions where you have to like deliver stuff with the truck.
Dude, okay. This might not be the call for it, but we can talk later about this more. Like, I have a whole idea about how to do like missions and make it really cool and stuff too. So.
For the scrambling idea that I had is I was thinking about 2 filters that we should add, and it would use like a noise, like kind of like a cloud, so that there's like smooth transitions between the intensity of erosion. So the first layer would be it deletes, like it uses noise and it deletes everything, like entities and tiles, and then the second one would just like destroy the entities, so that it like transitions between the 2.
Yeah, so if I just like copy this up here or something, I think I guess.
Yeah, it's you have to overlap on the green. Yeah, the green is outside of the chunk.
Yeah, I remember. I'll just turn chunks on so I can see. Or I guess I'll just throw.
Yeah, it's better if you just like leave two chunks between.
Yeah, because you're talking about basically like you have like basically a randomization where it then pulls in like some of these like background tiles where like select these.
But
and
it
then
would
we'll
also
bleed
delete.
to...
It would also delete the entities that are present there.
Yeah, yeah, like these will like turn into debris or just gone, right?
That's the second one. The first one
Yeah, it'll be like
would delete the
remains.
entities and the
Can I
tiles.
spawn those?
So you'd have like it'd probably even be better if we can figure out a way. So for like concrete and asphalt and stuff like that, it replaces the tile with dirt instead, because that would make more sense than just like straight up grass or water or whatever. And
I
then
don't know if I can spawn
the which one?
I was just thinking
Walls.
like if I could spawn like the
Yeah, it's under those. Yeah,
is it?
yeah. If you select the wall, like the top, these ones are the destruction effects. It's not that wall. It's the other one, top left.
Top left. Oh, this guy?
Yeah, this one should be the remnant.
Oh, that's like piece.
Then it's the
Oh,
ones
it's like
above.
the explosion.
Scroll
oh,
up.
these are not what I want, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, what?
Oh, never mind. Okay, no, that's the explosions
these are the
ones.
explosions.
It's the environment, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the environment.
Oh,
Yeah, it's that one.
Oh
That
yeah,
one's
yeah,
the-
this is it. Yeah. So like you could spawn like the destroyed like buildings and stuff. So
It wouldn't spawn them. So the way because like ideally we should be able to work on the chunks. Like you make them pristine, and basically those two filters would make them look like ruins.
Yeah.
So like if any of those
Yes.
tiles is
Yes.
affected by that second layer, then it's turned to that state
Yeah.
by the filter. And then
Like
the other
noise,
one,
certain random bits will be
Yeah.
remnanted. Some of them will be deleted completely.
Exactly.
Some tiles
Yeah,
will be
like gone.
completely deleted.
and I was
The
thinking
grass
like
would make sense though. Vegetation comes back. Nature's resilient.
Well, that would be
It's
okay,
like
that would be
in a
if, like,
desert.
if the tiles are gone, then it would do what we talked about before, where not that one.
It's underlying biome. Yeah.
Not that one. Yeah, it
Maybe
would
you're
like
right.
bleed through to like if there's a biome underneath or the base Factorio generation, right?
But I'm thinking like maybe for concrete, reinforced concrete and
Oh, you could you could do tile degeneration too, right? Like this
yeah,
could turn
I'm
into,
thinking like we should
sand or
like
something.
I think the dirt the brown dirt would look best on any biome. The brown dirt. Yeah, like dirt 4 and dirt 5 are pretty good.
Yeah,
Dirt 5 is probably best actually.
I don't know. We might be able to need to do like tile transitions or something too. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that doesn't really look decayed. Although I think there's.
I mean, no,
hold
with
up.
with the destroyed entities in that area.
There's like rocks, like the medium rocks and stuff. I don't know, you
We'd
could
have to
make it-
figure out the logic, but like
you could around
we
with
have
it.
to
Can be
use
done.
different.
It can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, like we can mess around with that. But yeah, it would have like these layers of. that
It
it's,
wouldn't make
like,
sense
being
for
destroyed.
rocks though. Actually, the decoratives, the rocks, we should never make them spawn in because like it makes no sense why rocks would show up in the middle of a street, for example.
Oh no! We're clearing decoratives. Like when you saw me when I showed that,
Kinda
we cleared
could.
that.
If there's
No, like, bushes
tall
and stuff.
buildings, they could be. You could suspend disbelief, and it could be concrete rubble from
We'll
like
make
a
our
tall
own.
building.
We'll make our
Even
own.
better then, yeah.
Right, like I have. Do I have that? in
At
here?
least that's the idea.
Crash site. Oh yeah, generation removes all. I have a checkbox here for, like you noticed before, it was clearing everything. If I uncheck this, and if I go in,
It'll leave all the environment crap, bushes
it'll
and
leave
stuff.
trees
Yep.
and ores and all.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be just there.
Even the water.
The water is not there because water is tiles. But that's why I put a little bit of water on the hub so I could play.
Okay.
Because otherwise you have no water unless you go outside the city, which is kind of a pretty big endeavor if you make the city big. At least if you.
Yeah,
you wanna
cliffs
do,
are
like,
gonna
cliff
have
farm.
to be like something that gets cleared no matter what, because cliffs like
Yeah, obviously.
makes no sense why the topography would change
Yeah,
that quickly.
like this makes no sense, right? There's like a
It's
giant ass
like-
earthquake that broke all this.
There was a there was a giant
It's
earthquake.
probably not legit, you know.
Dude, already like these are just like a tile set with like very little.
No variation, right? But when I'm down low,
And
right?
still, it changes the game so much.
When I'm down in here, like it looks pretty good. Like even though I have like nothing, there's no even buildings. Like there's nothing
Yeah,
here.
I know, right?
You know, but it still looks good. Obviously, when you look at the
It's all
map, it's
coming
like,
together.
oh, there's like the same
Finally,
intersection.
it's
Like
coming together. About time.
it's like
Took
the
so
same
damn
intersection
long.
like 8 times. Like it looks like crap. But when I'm down on the like ground, like it's immersive. I feel like stuff's going on.
This is the typical game infinite development.
But like if I'll give you an example. So like if I go into the edit scenario again, actually this will be good. I'll give you a full like demo. I want to turn off that mod setting so I don't break anything. Just
We're
turn
gonna
it
have some
off.
crazy maps in no
All right,
time.
I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna try something. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna open up my. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the hotkeys. If I go to the dead end, so I got this dead end, and I think I have the southwest dead end too. So I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna bump this priority like way up. Okay, and then I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna set the other one, so the southwest. Also,
Okay,
if you figure out a better naming convention, do it. I'm serious.
I think we're gonna have to make the rarity
We'll come
system.
up with something, but right now like these are not good. I would not.
You know, with the
recommend.
fact I forgot what the rarity system how it worked again, we're gonna have to make
Yeah,
it
I'm giving you
clear.
an example of that right now. So I'm gonna set all of these dead ends to like
Because
really
I can't.
high.
I don't remember it.
It's pretty
Maybe
straightforward.
not these ones actually. These
That's
ones
because I don't remember if it was the lower the number, the more rare it was, or if it was the
Well, okay.
opposite. If
I was thinking about that, and I think we should. I was thinking about changing it to frequency, so like low frequency versus high frequency, but I just didn't get around to changing the name.
yeah, that would make more sense. Because if I recall, the middle zero.
Other games call it weight, I've seen.
Yeah, or wait.
Yeah, I
that's
think.
a good word for it.
I think,
too.
but for this project, I think 5.0 was the middle, so that was like the standard for everything.
Yeah, like okay, yeah, that was a good point. So in here it has the rarity. We're gonna put a little like graphic under here that shows you what the average is for like
Yeah,
that type or whatever. So that
that I remember.
it gives you like an idea of like if you make it really high, like how high is high, or how low is low, or how rare is rare. Like it'll give you a good idea from the baseline basically, and maybe you'll have like a little distribution or like color thing, or I don't know. I'll get fancy with it, but
I think just a red line would be enough.
I don't know. I kind of have some ideas there, and I don't think it'd be too hard to do. So either way, okay. So I changed those dead ends to be really high probability, right? So I'm gonna save this, export. I should have saved before, but that's probably fine. Okay, do that. So also to remember, I exported, but I did not save my map. We're not saved here. Like if I were to quit out and come back in, those changes with the rarity will be gone. I'm just gonna save because I actually want all that, but
Maybe you should make it so that when you export, it saves the map as well.
well, I don't
you-
know if we have control over saving, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to now take my chunk packager. So I have my chunk packaged up here. So this has the new rarities and stuff, and I can see because I made it at 10:55 p.m. Oh, Windows is so dude. It only shows the time that you've changed the border or the folder. But there's 10:37. So I just made this. I'm gonna copy this guy.
Yeah, just make sure not to show the secret folder. We all have one. No, I'm joking.
Oh my god. And then I'm gonna go
Unforeseen
into
consequences.
mods, and I'm gonna go into Nauvis post collapse. Okay, so this import file, I'm gonna delete that, and then I'm gonna paste in my new one. So this is my new set. I'm gonna exit out of Factorio, and then I'm going to reopen.
Still haven't
So-
seen the flipped city, the blue city chunk.
Oh, well, that's because I don't have it on the on that biome, right?
Was a different one?
Yeah, it's city industrial. So if I change this to industrial, then we'd see it. So I'm gonna turn my
Can you do that right now?
sure, but
Curious to see.
I just want to see what it looks like with all the dead ends at super high priority. So now if I look around,
I bet.
yeah, see now I got like dead ends everywhere. See, like dead ends, dead ends. Go back
You
to
should
editor.
probably bump up the frequency of the four-way intersections.
Yeah, see
and
now there's like
lower
no
the...
straights, so it's like throwing dead ends everywhere, right?
The stupidest city.
This is
Useless streets. Oh man, imagine if
what?
we make like a thing where it like
I'm gonna
also
turn
gives
this
street
down again.
names to the streets.
Or I might have to do that again.
That would be pretty funny.
Okay, so if I just cleared the train so we can see a little easier.
And the
But-
train stops.
Yeah, see now if I go and look around, like see now there's like dead ends everywhere, right? So the map generation heavily depends on what you set those rarities to. If you get the rarities wrong, your city is going to look totally different or jank or whatever. So it does matter like what the average is and stuff like that. Like that's why we're thinking about adding something that indicates what the average is and stuff, because just messing up 1 or 2 tiles will like make it look, you know, completely unrealistic from being, you know, something that, you know, might look okay. So if you end up with a result that like looks really strange or something, just double check the rarities on your tiles and see what you got. If you want to leave everything as like whatever the default is, I think it's like, I don't know, it opens up at like 0.5. If you want to leave it all at that, that's fine. But just know like that's what's going on.
Should probably make it 5.0. That way it's in the middle of the slider.
Well, okay, so the real story of this, oh, I gotta turn that setting back off.
There's probably some reason why.
The real story of this, okay, is that
Yep.
I actually wanted a value that was higher than 1 for some things, like the road, like straight roads. The reason why is because there's less of them, okay? So say, for example, I have all of these intersections, right? And they're all 0.5. Well, what do you think it's going to pick? A road that is at 1 or these 16 intersections that are at 0.5? It's going to pick the intersection,
Yeah.
right? So the reason why I broke through the 1.0 barrier
Okay, I
is
see
because
now.
you can like offset how many this is compared to these, and that's just because this border is like weird, you know, because it needs the opposite one, which means you have to make all these extra tiles. And there's 2 ways you can solve that. You can either make each one of these way less rare, or you can make this one way more. And I already made all these, so I just made this one more. But later on, like we might have something where we can like maybe select this as a group, and then as a group, like you set this whole thing as 0.5, and then it takes how many you have, divides it by the group, so then it ends up being the same.
Oh,
for
that's
all of them or
smart.
something.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
like,
would do it
We
automatically.
can do something like that with when this UI looks better, because this is awful. Like you can have like folders of like intersections and
You should probably show the
Right.
rarity as well on
Like,
this viewer. That way you can like easy glance at it if it's not there already.
yeah, like
Oh yeah, like the blueprint folder. Yeah.
right, like
Yeah, I was
you could
thinking about
have
something like that.
something in here, right, where you have like a group of these guys, right, and like this is all my intersections, just how people like that's how they make like rails and stuff right now, right, is like you have this feels natural in Factorio, right, and like you would rename this as blah blah, like they already have all this in Factorio. Can probably piggyback off a bit of it because they already have this UI. I might be able to at least like you might be able to make it look similar so that people have an easier time using it. But that's the
Should make
idea. And then
a-
maybe in
a
here we have
separate
extra
book.
settings, right? Like rarity for this folder or blah blah, you know. So that's just a little like demonstration on that. But yeah, like any questions or
Can we see the
oh
blue city chunks?
oh yeah, you want to see that? I have one other thing to cover, but
But yeah,
I have to
the
go through the
rarity should
border.
show up on the chunk package reviewer or
Yes,
the
that would be nice.
chunk viewer.
I can do that too.
Because
Oh,
yeah,
actually,
because
that's a
like
good point. I'll note that.
it's gonna be way easier to see what the
What,
which
like,
ones are the problem.
right under the name, maybe? When you the
I'm
name
thinking
being an
maybe a
option.
Yeah, we could
separate
even do like
column.
visual or number or whatever. That'd be a good idea. Okay, we're gonna
What if it was color coded instead?
Know what exactly? I think it was industrial.
Yeah, you said it was industrial.
I think that's how you spell it.
Is it gonna crash if it's the wrong
I
name?
have no hub on this. It's just the one tile. Oh, I need to turn on the actual generation too, and then we're gonna send it. So there you go. It's just a frickin' sea of just that tile.
I wish I could
got.
live in a world of just solar panels everywhere.
Yeah, like the fun part about these is that it actually, like if I go back to non-editor, it runs. Like I actually have ores in here, and it, like the solar panels and accumulators, so it runs. Got some cars and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like you, the
Fun.
inserters though are broken on some of them.
Yes. See, I told you about that, because I have
Yeah.
flip on. So for some reason, I think there might be a bug in the flip, where it's not. I don't think it's flipping entities quite right.
It makes little sense as to why they would still be running though, since it's like years after
Oh
the
no, wait!
collapse.
Actually, the flip is making sense. I'm just dumb.
But, like,
Obviously, if it's flipped, that means that the servo would be backwards. But this is a good reason, right? Like, this is a thing. Like, if you see something not looking correct, right, then go back into the editor, right, and I'll maybe figure out a better way that I don't know. You can have one on or whatever. But if I go back to that chunk now, I'll jump to it. This is a case where you don't want flip allowed. So I would turn that off and then resave. Because I actually
I mean, do you
want
think you
that,
can
right?
fix the inserters though?
The
Or is it
inserters
gonna
weren't
be-
broken. Right? Like if I take this, right? If I
Yeah,
copy
yes.
this and I paste it and I flip it, these are going to be backwards.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Right? Like
yeah.
if I'm not rotating it, I'm actually flipping it. So if I grab, actually I might be able to hold it now. I think Factorio allows you to flip, right? Yeah. See, like if I flip, that's what it's doing. Right?
How are
So,
you flipping that?
And I didn't even know that was an option.
Just the
Yeah,
F key.
how are you flipping?
Factorio, just hit the F key. Like you
I
just-
was not aware.
You can just grab
I
stuff and
spent
flip
all
it. You
these
didn't know
years
that?
playing this game, and I'm just learning this now.
You can just flip things.
Neato.
I don't think you can flip rails. Or
I knew about
something.
rotate and counter rotate. I didn't know about flip.
Yeah, you can
Neat.
counter rotate and rotate.
I'm still learning new
You
things.
can flip.
Yeah, even after all this time.
But yeah, like that's what this is doing, right? Like when I have flip enabled, it's flipping it. So then, you know, the ore's in this chest and it's trying to go this way, but it's flipping these inserters, so then it's not going to work. So this would be a reason why you would want flip off, where rotate's fine.
If this
like
project
rotating
doesn't work out in the end, you can put
Right.
that on your resume. It's going to be the best portfolio ever. You can get any job after that.
So like that's a reason
Microsoft.
why you would want to turn that off, is like if you had a tile where, like an industrial tile where flipping matters. Like for example too, like I guess I don't know. That's kind of a big
Oil?
one. If you had like pipes and stuff, it'd probably work just fine. But
I mean, are pipes broken by that? No, I mean pipes are
no, like if I
belts. Belts might break.
yeah, like
the-
certain things, like you would have to like that's
The
what I'm saying.
import
You could
slot
experiment
on
with it.
refineries.
You could leave it on
Pipes.
flip
Oh, yeah, that's true.
and just see what it does, and if it breaks, then like you have to turn it off.
If
But
it
yeah,
hurts, don't
that's
do
what
it.
happened. I turned it on the industrial, and it gave me literally only this guy, because this is the only one that I have from that set. Which, just so you know, this is all alphabetical. So I'd recommend that if you do name stuff, give it like the
Yeah, give it a prefix.
give it the prefix of like the layer and the region. Like you don't have to do main, like you can do C
I
dash
think
D
I
or
had the
something.
logic figured out.
But then
earlier. I
like
think it
all
was
of your
something
stuff
like,
will show up in the same area.
I think it was connection type, then biome, then it was the shape and the size after that, something like that.
Yeah, like I do have like the size
Like you
and
have
stuff in here
rail,
at least.
and then
But-
you have the size of it or the shape.
I was even thinking about this, that since we know like what it is
Oh, biome was last.
and what stuff it is or whatever, like I could prefab a name up here or whatever. Like we could do some sort of
Yeah, that
prefix
should be
that's
automated.
auto-generated.
That should probably be automated.
That's what I'm saying. Like we can do stuff like that, and you know, there's lots of stuff that we can do that make like this a bit nicer. But this is the only industrial boy that I have right now. But yeah. Also, technically, you can set a chunk to be under multiple. So if I set like, you probably wouldn't do this, but this would be like your transition tiles, because technically it'd be under both. You would have the ones that would go from downtown to the industrial. This would be going in between. Now we talked about that we probably would manually generate, or not manually generate, automatically generate a lot of these, but that's not saying that you could make your own, because you might want to make, I don't know, some more fancy ones or something. But yeah, you can select multiple in this list as well, and it will basically just make it so that if I were to do this on something, and then you know, set my mod setting for like downtown or cities or whatever here, it will show whatever one has that. So if I have one in with downtown, if it's in this list, it will show up when I do this downtown. If I have it also in industrial, then it would also show up there. Does that make sense? Like right now you can't do two at the same time, but you can do either one. And then you can do a square and a circle. But the square is still doing the radius, so this is actually still like 20 and not like it's 20 across. So it's not, I don't know, it's not that nice, but whatever. Okay, one last thing that I did want to go through was some changes that I made on the actual border type. So in here, I added a couple of small kind of tweaks. I don't remember exactly how much you were doing before, but yeah, I'll kind of take you through it. So I added a couple of new features in here. Border priority, this matters because this is when the city gets generated or when your biome gets generated, this is the order that it generates them in. So for example, I have the roads as a high priority, meaning that it will draw the roads first, then it will draw the city tiles.
So for like the rails, for example, you'd have the rails higher in the priority or lower than the wagons.
So for rails, I was honestly thinking that it gets really kind of jank with letting rails just kind of place. Like how I'm gonna kind of do rails, or how maybe the best way to do rails is that, now I didn't do it in this demo, but you can set border types. Oh my god, I didn't even show you this. Holy crap, 1 second. Oh my gosh. Generate city. I'm gonna reset this stuff. I can't believe I didn't show you this. Okay, this is really important. Okay, when you jump in, there's a setting that you can turn on while you're in the world. It doesn't have to be before. It is, oh my god, it's too many settings now. This show debug alt borders. Okay, you turn this on, and then when I go to the alt, it will show
Okay, yeah,
me
that menu, yeah.
all of the chunks, what the borders are, what their name is, and you see there's no borders in between, so I know obviously this is a 2x2, like this is a 2x2, and if I like move around, I can see, probably find, yeah, like there's an L. Sometimes the L's are a little bit harder to see because they're literally just, like for example, like here, now I know that this is made up of, you know, like a bunch of different like tiles. It's not like that didn't turn out to be a 2x2. It chose two 1x2s. But this gives me an idea of like what is spawning and where and how. One caveat is, you might already have kind of figured out, obviously this border is actually both. It's actually both the orange and the purple border, because these are always have to match orange on one side with purple on the other. That's the only reason why you get this straight and not like broken up. I'm gonna change this at one point to like, they'll have some like, I don't know, maybe this will be slightly on one side and slightly on the other if there's two, and I'll show you both.
And make the icon also a little bit higher and then lower for the other one.
Yeah, like it'll show you both somehow, right?
Yep.
Right, but right now it doesn't. Just so you know, like it'll only show you the last one that was placed. So in this case, the last one that was placed here was the southwest one, and this one was the northeast one here. And that's just what happened. But yeah, just so you're aware of that for the roads, because I don't know, like for example, in the editor, if you were to put two of these together, it would not match up. So that's what's going on. But a little caveat. But this is just a way to like debug, see what's going on. So if you might be looking around and wondering like why a certain border isn't showing up, or like why a certain shape is like not connecting to another shape properly or whatever, it's probably because either you need to set up the borders a little bit differently, maybe it's bugging, like maybe it's just not working properly, which in that case, like let me know, take a screenshot of it. Like this will give me all the information. If you give me the save file and the seed, I will be able to regenerate this map exactly, go over to that location, see what's wrong, and then try to figure it out. It's pretty important, because I'm not going to claim that this is, you know, bugless. I've only tested up to 2x2s. You can throw all kinds of crazy shapes at the system. It will try to fit them. We're probably going to encounter a bunch of weird things that happen. The one thing that I would say is try not to make any broken shapes.
Like donuts?
What?
Like donuts.
Donuts are
Chunk
fine.
donuts.
Donut is not a broken shape. I mean
What
a shape
about
that's like
chunk
two
islands?
separate things. Yeah, like islands. Like if I
Okay, yeah.
I go back to this.
Because that was one thing I theorized when we conceived this. But I think if you have a lot of 1x1 chunks, it shouldn't,
like if you create a shape that's like this or something, that probably will not fly. Because it's gonna try to, like if you did something like that, like how it has two different islands that are unconnected, I'm pretty sure this will probably create some funky results and might break.
if
but
you have
can,
them set to
you
none.
could do something like this, as long as all of these are borders that aren't any's, like that would be valid. And then it would come back around and fill this. It would fill this in, or do its best to. But yeah, that's fine. But just know like
Holes are fine, islands are not.
That's the only thing that like I would say, if we want to do that, maybe, but I'm pretty sure it won't work. I have not tested that either.
Any hole's a goal.
That will probably not go. Okay, so to continue kind of the discussion on the chunk borders, so that's how to kind of see them in game. That's what the priority is. It's basically telling you, the system, which one to prioritize drawing first. If I told it to prioritize cities first, then it would just fill the entire like thing with just city, and then you would get like around the hub, it would just be like 4 dead ends, and that'd be it. Because it would fill in all of this with city and then be unable to like place anything else. So that's probably something would be, or it would place one road and then it would get a city edge and then just fill everything else with city. So effectively, you want to use that to your advantage of which like edge you want to draw first. So roads make the most sense. Rails, I think rails should be like higher than roads, but what I was saying earlier is what the demo doesn't show, that
Oh, there should be a lot more roads than rails in the world generation in general.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
if you
yeah,
look at your
obviously.
average city, there's a lot more like roads than rails.
But the issue is, okay, say like I'll actually go back to the generation here. So if I think I still have this on. Oops. Oh, I turned it off. Debug all borders. So, and if I just zoom out on that seed. So something that we can do, and this already works, and I've tested this, and I've shown this in on the Discord, is that you can predefine border edges. So I can like draw all of these border edges all the way through here to be roads. I can say like, I want a highway that runs straight through here. And what will happen is that as it's generating, it will force the generation to make that sure that that is a road edge, and it will make a straight line through there. But then, you know, maybe it feels like placing an intersection. It will just place an intersection as the rarity kind of tells it to, and then it will build off of that intersection. But in the final result, you'll still end up with a road edge that goes straight through. Now with rails,
that's if the priority of the highway is set high, right?
Yeah, obviously. Like you would want it to draw like highways first, and then like, you know, the bare like city generation stuff later. So then we would have different like priorities, right?
To sum this up, rails first, highways second, then avenues, then streets.
Yes, but what I was thinking,
like last city blocks.
What I was thinking for rails though, rails obviously, yes, you want to draw them first, but the problem lies with rails is in the rarity. So say for example, I set all of the rail rarities to just 1 or just to 0.5, okay? And I had intersections in there. That means if I paint all of this, say, straight line with rails, it will say, okay, I want a straight rail, I want a straight rail, I want a straight rail. Oh, I'm going to put an intersection. So it puts an intersection.
Okay, so the one thing, though, for highways and rails, which I theorized would work to fix those issues, is if we make any highway or rail section, like, prefab really large. Like, nothing below 4 chunks, like, in length.
I know, but this still won't work. It doesn't matter how big it is, okay? And the reason why is, like, as soon as you hit an intersection, like, so let's say, for example, you have, like, straight chunk here, and it's 4x4. Straight chunk here, and it's 4x4, and the rails are coming through, right? And then all of a sudden, this one decides...
It'd be 4x1.
Or 4x1, okay, sure. But, like, let's say all of a sudden it decides this one is going to be an intersection, okay? Well, now all of a sudden it has to deal with this intersection going up, say.
Yeah.
Like, what is it going to do? It's going to start building this, but then all of a sudden it's going to get cut off, and then it might just not pan out, right? Like, it has nowhere to go because we didn't tell it to go anywhere. So if I set all of the rarities to 0, then it will force all of the rails to follow exactly where I paint. But that means that we would have to, like, tell it everywhere that we wanted rails, which probably wouldn't be the worst.
Might be better.
You know, like, we tell it, hey, I want a rail network that goes straight through here, and it just does that, right? Instead of it trying to,
because the idea with
like,
this is that the rail lines should be fairly long and, like, you know, not a lot of turns.
I know, but you're still going to end up with it just this, like, if you have any of the intersections with a non-zero rarity, it's just going to say, hey, I want an intersection here, and it just throws one in. And then all of a sudden you have an intersection here, and now it just has the generation has to deal with where that other intersection goes. right? And maybe it just dead ends it. But like, do you really want a rail that just randomly comes up and dead ends? It's kind of weird, you know?
I think
Maybe
if
if
we
it goes to a depot.
hold up, what if we just don't make rail endings like ever, like in the
Okay,
it just
that is a very good point. Okay, let's say we don't have a rail dead end. Okay, let's say this becomes an intersection and it wants to
Is it
put a
gonna
rail that
crash?
goes up. Okay, and then it keeps going up, but then it hits like the edge of the city or something. Whatever the heck is up here, like it's gonna have to deal with that eventually. And if it snakes around to itself and gets stuck, and it can't place anything other than a dead end, but it doesn't have one, what is it gonna do? It's just gonna like place whatever the base city block is, which is just gonna be this. Which means you have a rail just going into literally nothing. Which is gonna
So I'm
look
thinking
terrible.
rails should have like an exception where they transcend over biomes. They only mess with topography. So they
Like,
interact with biomes like
okay,
cities and stuff like that, but they cut
honestly,
through
if you
them.
want to try it, you can play around with rails having a non-zero rarity. Have fun. It just makes a mess and it causes all kinds of weird to happen. So like
I
You
mean,
got random
I'm on
rails
the fence about it
everywhere,
right
just like we
now.
have random roads right now. You just have random rails.
Yes, but with random roads having a dead end, like obviously I turn the dead ends a ton so it doesn't look good. But having a dead end here or there, like instead of this being a dead end, you could have like a little building here or something. Right? Like what actually what you said, Smoka, having like if it was a rail dead end, having a little warehouse or something that goes into, that's a good idea. Like maybe we could do that. It might actually look good. Right? Like you have really extremely rare intersections that it can place and make all of the straight rails and turns and stuff have higher rarity, or not higher rarity, but like more common or higher weight, then it will follow like the predetermined path that you told it, and then every so often it'll place a little intersection, and then it'll go off for a little bit, get stuck, and then it'll place a little like a little warehouse or something. Like that's like actually a good idea. It might actually work.
there's one
Honestly,
thing
maybe play around
that
with it. I would say play around with it.
I've been thinking about, which might be a problem. It's the houses, the dimensions of them in the chunks. Because like if you look at the streets, they take up a majority of the chunk. And so if the houses have a dimension bigger than 10 by 10, uh, the way to make them look best is if they overlap the chunk border.
Right, but like you could just
That
have this 2 by 2 with houses here.
Yeah, but that also brings up another question. Can the current model, like if you put an assembler that spills over to the
You don't want
neighboring
it to
chunk,
spill over.
you don't want it to spill over?
You don't
Okay.
want it to spill over. But like because it would become part of the border edge. Right? Like if I go back to the editor and I put
Yeah.
and it's like if I go to I don't know, one of these where's my straight road? I go to my straight road.
Okay, so that's one major constraint. Okay, that's good
Right,
to know.
right, just hold up for a second.
Hold on. Let's see. Let's see.
So if I put like an assembler, or I don't know, like this or something.
Well, the refinery would be better, or the rocket style, because they're even bigger.
Sure. But if I go to, I turn on my selection. If I click this, see now it turns into any type. Because this isn't a city edge anymore. It has a freaking assembler in it. So if I go to this edge and I look at it, it has an assembler in the border preview. Right?
Right, we're
Because it
gonna have
thinks
to
this
make
is
the
very-
neighborhoods like 2 chunk wides.
Right.
To have
Yeah.
like
Like we
a-
could make them 2 or like you could instead of doing like this, you could do like this, and this would be city and this would be
It's,
city.
no,
and we'd have houses
three's
and
too wide, because like for one street, are you really gonna have this much backyard? It's gonna. I think the ratio is going to be
you
too
never know.
large.
Technically, since these, here's another thing to consider. Since these roads don't match up anyway, right? You could actually take
Yeah,
this
yeah.
whole road and
It's the same
shove it
thing,
to
yeah.
the top, right? And then you have the rest of the chunk. And then if all the roads are like that, they will all still look normal,
Yeah, pretty
right?
much.
They'll
Yeah.
all look straight like they did before, except that the whole thing will be offset like up about 5 tiles or so, and it'll give you more than enough space to put like
Doesn't have to be
big buildings
centered.
and stuff down here.
Because
Yeah, as long
the
as you account
neighborhoods
for it.
are like, I think there's going to be a lot of situations where we're going to have to do that, especially like the
Right.
industrial districts with like the modular factories in the future.
Like for example, too, right?
Like large building footprints and stuff. They're
I'll take, actually,
hmm.
I'll turn this back on. If I
Also, yeah,
take,
for the
this
commercial
one-
buildings, I think we should have two different sizes, 16 by 16 and then 32 by 32. Looking at the dimensions of the chunk, because like it's better if the building just takes up the entire chunk at that point.
Like if I take this guy, right? And okay, here's my one straight, right? And let's say I have like neighborhoods, right, that look different. Maybe they have a different street and whatever. But instead of making them dead on straight, right, I actually make it so that they're I think I can copy this.
Yeah, you just like offset it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I go like this and I make it like maybe it comes up like this, right? And obviously like it doesn't copy
Yeah, you
the,
just need the sand line.
the sand line. Like say it comes up like this, right? And like this is my intersection. It gives me all this space to like do all this stuff on this side, right?
So you have to prevent it from flipping, because if they flip, you might have like two streets or like.
Yeah,
You know.
that's what I talked about before. All the street stuff you do not want to have flip on, but rotate is fine. Right? And like if I go and if I unselect
Yeah,
that
that's
one,
true. Actually, we can't really
Right?
do any flipping for the streets.
No, you cannot do flipping because the border edge is specific. It's not symmetrical like we talked about before. You can't flip it. It will break. Like it will line up an incorrect border with an incorrect border. You don't want that. Because it will
Don't
think
worry
it's doing
about
its
that.
job correctly,
I'll
but it's
make it.
not.
I'll make it work. I'll make it even. Don't worry about it.
But like you could do something like this,
The
right?
king
This
of
gives you a lot of
OCD.
space on the side to do like whatever you want over here. And then as long as you have a tile set with proper border edges that works for this, that connects back to like the main roads, like it doesn't have to look like this. Like I don't know, maybe the side streets are just different. I don't know. Maybe they don't have sides or something. I don't know. You can make them look different. I don't know. I'm not an artist. But like say they look different. But I don't know if dots or dashes works better. But maybe they just look
Dots look
different.
good, actually. Yeah,
And you go
I've
into
tested
like
it on
some
the-
sort of neighborhood thing, and then you have a border connection that connects from the. It connects from basically this offset grid back to the normal like main streets. You have these, and then you have like you can have buildings and stuff here, and then you can have main streets that have like maybe you can have some of these that like you said before aren't are 2x1s, right? That up here like this is all concrete, and then you put some cool buildings in here that are like more like downtowny or something, like townhouses or I don't know, maybe a little factory or whatever if it's industrial or something like that. But like see like the power of this, like you can go nuts in here, man. Like holy crap, there's so much stuff you can do. I even like jokingly
I still
gave
remember
this
the
to my-
night when we had like the 3-hour meeting for the first time, and I explained to you the whole scope of this. Like, that was.
But like I made like I don't know, like a
It's
dozen
all there.
tiles or so.
It's
like
all
maybe,
there
like,
though.
Wow, I don't know, like
So-
20 something tiles or so. Like I don't know, there's a bunch of repetitions. Maybe I made like probably like more like 8 different tiles here, right? And like you saw
I
the city
imagine
that
when
it
we have like
generated.
500.
It's going right, and yeah, imagine it with 100. Imagine it with 500. Like it's gonna look.
I think just
crazy.
500 would be like enough at that point.
Like we'll hit a point where it'll start to look like you'll
Actually,
see cities
you know
and
what?
like you'll see stuff that you never seen before and stuff, and like
It'll
make some,
never
like,
be
really
enough with
rare
this.
and whatever, you know.
It'll never be enough. Like
Um,
my hunger
Well,
for
that's the thing
exploration.
too, right? Like if we open it up, like people can just like they can just add
Yeah.
more. Like oh, I added my own like little garden city chunk that shows up, and it's like oh cool, now I see your little like you can or like somebody can make a gardens pack or whatever, like an industrial sewage area or like anything that they want, right?
Oh, that'd be cool. Actually, underground sewers
Yeah, we could do
that
all
you can
kinds of
go
stuff,
through
right?
like manhole covers when we make the subway systems.
Yeah, and like you could
use,
connect
like, the
them
green
through
water.
and stuff and whatever. Like you have entities that like connect between the surface layer of like Nauvis and the underground layer, right? Like elevators and maybe manhole covers. If like if the manhole cover is missing, you fall into it, or I don't know. Or you can press like enter, right? You can press enter to like go down into like the underground or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking that pressing enter, but if you drive over it with like a car and the
damages
manhole
your car
cover's
like
like
it's
not
a
there,
speed bump.
your car just like blows up. That'd be funny.
Okay, so
like
I
a
want to go a
landmine.
little bit more into the border stuff because there's actually one more tool in here that's kind of cool. But yeah, you can pick, like before, you can pick the color of the border edge. So like that's like this color. So the any type is green, and like
Dude, imagine,
if
hold
I
up,
select
imagine
this
like
one, it's like
the,
gray and stuff. You
imagine
can
the
change the color.
multiplayer
There's a whole
servers.
like color picker in here for the border color. That's what this color is. So this one's green.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have gray, right? Like if I go to city, it's gray. The draw width is the width of this like edge. So like I can make it super thick if I want, or like I don't really, or I didn't save. I can make it like really thin. So like that's just, this is just like cosmetic stuff. And then a sprite, so you can put a sprite on here. The sprite is colored based on that too. So like if I change this to, I don't know, like more blue or something, and I save, now it's you know, it's tinted, like it'll tint the sprite too. But, and like this is all happening behind the scenes just because it looks like this. If I select one over here, it'll like auto update. Yeah, I just don't have it like talking back and forth exactly. But the part down here that's important is whatever is under this current chunk border. This is the tile set that was saved here. So if I go to this guy, you can see the road. If I go to the southwest one, you can watch as this like shifts over a little bit because it's offset. The industrial one, I got this like double rail city one. This is the tiles that are there. So if I select, do I have one that like doesn't exist? Yeah, so if I like select this and go into here and then go create new, and I pull the entities through. Oh wait, did I select the right one? Hold up. Did I? Oh, it is a straight edge. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was confusing the shit out of me. That's not a great example. I'm gonna use this parking lot because this is way more obvious. If I select this, so it's pulling this edge as if it was like the top, because they're all gonna be the same. Actually, maybe that's a little confusing. I'll pull this one instead. So you can see that the preview is matching exactly what the top two tiles are on this.
Yeah, on the other one
line,
it's
right?
different.
Now, if I go to, I'm gonna create a new one. If I go to, this is the preview. So this is what it's like looking at. If I hit pull, it's gonna, and you might have to hit this multiple times. I don't know. This is kind of jank. I need to fix that, but sometimes you'll see nothing the first time. You just click this and it'll re-pull it. It'll say the current chunk border. This is what the tile set that you've selected to be this border. So this is the one that's important to pull, and it will let you clear stuff. So like if I have, I don't know, like if I have like a bunch of, I don't know, like decoratives or a bunch of junk hanging out here, I don't know, stuff. If I'm back in here and I pull this, I'm gonna end up with a bunch of like of all that like crap. If I'm trying to pull something like, and I don't want that as part of my border, I can just nuke those out. So I can just clear that to make it like basic. Or if say it's like rails and I want the rails, then I can clear the tiles and I'll keep the entities or something. Like if I just want, say, the rail, or whatever. But yeah, this lets you get a little bit more control over like what the border is going to be, and you don't have to like necessarily clean up whatever you're like working with. But that's what's kind of going on there. There's also this extra little tool that I built, which if you turn on this selector, if you click on any of these spots, I think I need to stop selecting there, but if I click on any of these spots, it's gonna pull that into the preview. So like whatever I select here, it's gonna just pull that into my preview, and then I can use that chunk border edge. So if I'm not doing any like chunk packaging stuff, not in that, maybe a better example actually is if I go to just a fresh map. Oh, it's gonna do the generation because I didn't turn that off. So yeah, I didn't turn off the generation, so I did that. But if I just randomly go out here, open this guy up, and then I turn on the chunk border editor and I just click on one of these sides, it's gonna pull whatever is in like this area. So like along this edge, as you can kind of see, if I make it easier if I turn on the grid. So like here's the chunk grid. I'm pulling those exact tiles. So when I pull this in, I'm gonna get all that. And like in this case, like obviously base gen has a lot of like decoratives and entities and stuff. I could just nuke all that out and it's just gonna give me the bare tiles. So if I find something cool, like in the, I don't know, the base gen or whatever, like you could go in there and pull the tile set if you wanted those and nuke everything else that you didn't want. Like, I don't know. It's just something that you could use when building the border types if you want. The last piece that's in here that I think I talked about before was the connections. Yeah, I did talk about that. That was like what matches this. If you have to fill this out. If you don't fill this out, I'm pretty sure it will either A, just not do anything, or B, it will just crash when trying to place this border edge. Because you basically told it that it matches, like, I don't know, if you had like city here.
It probably wouldn't crash because it's not even going to try to place it.
Oh, you didn't write the code, man. I'm pretty sure it's hard code to select whatever's in here, and it will just not find anything and freak out. So either
Really?
it will just not work or it will crash. I have not tested that, but I would recommend you fill in, you know, it probably will be the exact same thing as the top, but
Yeah, you should make it so that by default it just like sets it to itself.
yeah, I thought about that actually, and I will probably
Because
do
that way, like, there's at least it won't crash, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and most of the time, like, you're not gonna have these like, you know, offset borders and stuff. You're just gonna have something like desert side or I don't know, jungle edge or whatever, and that'll be fine. It'll work just fine. But I guess there's an example of it, like what it would look like if you had both of the same border edge show up. Like, see, that's orange. This one, oh my god, because that's one of the weird ones. I have it over here. So like that's orange. This one's also orange. So like if two oranges match up, you're gonna get something like this, which is not what we want because we talked about that earlier, the mismatch edges. But yeah, I think I've said everything that I wanted to go through. Yeah. Any questions
This was
about
pretty comprehensive. There's
anything?
yeah, there's
like-
chunk package review. Then there was the rarity for this one, the chunk package review that should be added. Like as a column.
Little inventory stuff. Oh yeah, like there's gonna be a bunch of probably viewer niceties. Like this guy is like, I don't know, one of the first things I built in this mod just so I could edit existing ones, because actually that's a really good point too. If I do want to edit this chunk, instead of opening up this and clicking, I'm not going to see the name. I'm not going to see what the presets is. I'm also going to have creating new package chunk up here. That is your indicator that you're making something new. If I edit, I will then see the name. It will say edit existing package chunk, and it will have like the rarity set up, right, and all that stuff. So
Wait, but if you spawn that on another map, like you were gonna, it's true, yeah, you can still find it because it's the one that placed it. I remember now.
yeah, like if
God, it's been
later on
months.
when we have like
Yeah.
importing and stuff, obviously you wouldn't be able to jump to it because it doesn't exist on your like map.
Yeah.
But you would like hit a button, and then I don't know, maybe we show a preview of the chunks that it's gonna paste in, and then you click.
Only
and it pastes
issue
in.
with it, have you tested out though, like stress tested it? Because I think if you have like a huge map that you explored, that list is probably gonna get really long.
Okay, that's
Like-
the point, right? So like I would make, say like, okay, let's say like we call this file like city roads, right? And this contains like all of my city roads. And then I make a second scenario that has all of my like desert stuff and all my whatever. But then I take all those and I import them into like my final project, which then has just the list and like maybe just like the hubs or something in here, or maybe just nothing, and it just has all of them loaded in, but not actually like pasted down on the ground. Right? And then we can pull them all together, and then because they need to be exported together, because that's what generates like the list of the border types and all that stuff. So you have to they have to eventually be pulled together.
Okay, I see now why.
You know what I'm
why
talking
you
about?
did it that way. I getting it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you need.
forgot about that. Makes complete sense.
Imports, right? You need these files on the outside to be all generated from like the same thing, right? Because if you generate these from different, at least right now, like it doesn't work. Maybe we could make a way where it can pull these in and then
Yeah, it should
snake
be
them together or
dynamic,
something.
but the thing is,
But
the
yeah.
folders should be like structured.
Yeah, like
That
I'm
way
gonna update this folder too, that it's structured based on like your whatever you have in game here. So if we have like a bunch of like biomes or city regions and stuff like that, then your export folder will reflect that, just to make it easier for you to know, like if you wanted to do a double check, like I got 54 here, do I have 54 like in my list, you can like check counts, and I don't know, if you want to just make sure that like you've got all your exports correctly and stuff like that. But I think I've covered everything in there. I think I've covered the settings too. So you can change the map type, you can change which region and layer that you're generating, whether or not you have a hub, whether or not you want to nuke all the entities and decoratives and stuff. I put tooltips over these too.
Oh,
to help out.
just
But then also how big of a generated area you want to test. Note that this is radius, so it's going to be, maybe I should put a little thing in here that says 2x right now, I don't know. Also, this is important too when you're playing around with different biome types. This default border type, this is what is going to be on the edge of the city. So if I go in, I'll just close that. And if I go and grab...
Juju slept over his alarm, so good thing we recorded the whole thing.
Oh, good.
Wait, we can send it to him.
If I grab the...
Holy shit.
Grab this border type, right?
Yeah, time flew.
And I go into this, I quit out. And so remember, if you remember the edge of the city, I guess you don't have to remember.
Yeah, it was a circle.
Well, not that. I'll keep it as a circle just to be consistent. But if I jump in here and I go to the edge, you'll see that all of the edge of the city is city, like that city border, right? If I change it to...
Oh, you know what might look better? It's if you do the cutoff as it deletes, it does a clean delete per tile instead of per chunk. Because later on it might make it look better.
We're gonna do transition tiles later and all kinds of stuff. This is just for the tech demo.
Oh,
but
yeah,
if I go in here and I
true.
set the border type
that.
to that road type, and now I come in here and I go to the edge, it's gonna be all roads.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so we're at the...
Right?
With the mixed...
So I told
biome.
this edge, right?
Yeah.
If I go back into the mod settings and turn on this debug alt borders, you can see now it's all that edge, right? Instead of the city. So this is important when you're testing a different... when you end up changing these, right? Say you do a biome and you do desert or mountains or something, you're gonna want to change this default border type to whatever your default border is, because if you don't, it will try to put probably city there, and what will happen is that your whole circle or whatever will be one tile smaller, because you probably won't have a edge made where you went between mountain and city yet. So this whole thing will just be smaller. So if you're wondering why like the edge isn't like, I don't know, looking quite right or something, it probably is because this default border edge was just set to default or set to something else. And then the only last setting here is this generation per tick. So if you noticed when I guess it wasn't super apparent. It didn't really happen for very long, but like when I had this set to, when I had the, just turn that off. When I had this set to like a much higher value, there's obviously a longer like initial load time, because it has to fill in enough so that all of the chunks that I can see on spawn are filled properly, because I've requested all of these chunks to be generated, and the generator said, wait, I'm not done yet. I have to actually like find out what goes there. And it's not really going to show up in this tech demo too much, because it pretty much generates the whole thing almost instantly. But what this bottom one is a performance setting. So if you're finding, if you join one and like if you walk around and it hasn't said this like finished generation yet, and the game is lagging, like you're dropping frames like crazy or something until this finishes, that's because this setting is too high. Basically every single tick, it's chewing off another chunk and it's trying to generate it in the background until this is finished. So if you find it's like lagging, just turn this down. Like you can even just half it, even in real time. Like you can pause the game, half this, and continue, and it will just do less in the background. Which this will probably be a setting that we have in the future and throughout this whole project. Just as like if your computer can't handle it and it's lagging, you would just lower this, and it wouldn't lag as much while just walking around. But if you have a beefier computer, you could bump this up to a much higher value, and then as you like travel around, everything will just be finished. Like it'll just be done.
What if we just made it so that the faster you travel, the bigger the number gets? So like if you're on a computer, it'll just force you to slow down.
Well, what happens right now is that if you hit a chunk, like if I were to run around and run into a chunk that hadn't been generated yet, it's now like forcing it to generate, right? So all of a sudden I would get kind of like a small lag spike where it like would have to fix that up. But yeah, I agree. We'll do dynamic like generating on, but it's like a performance setting.
At least
right?
it should be. At least it should be an option to make it dynamic.
Yeah, like we could have like not a number value here later, but have like, you know, high, medium, low, or ultra, stuff like that.
Also, a thing that should be
whatever.
tested in the future is like if we can delete the map chunks, like we said,
Oh yeah. So like for example,
to like
if,
regenerate them.
if I, for example, nuked like a bunch of these chunks, right? Since the game, or actually even better yet, right? Like for example, this chunk that's out here has not been filled yet. Like if I were to save this map, I think by my player technically it exists.
I have another
But stuff that's
test
like
actually.
really
Go in
far away,
the
like out here, has not been generated yet, right?
go in the tiles and then take a paintbrush, like a really big paintbrush, but set the tile to nothing, to void, and
Yeah,
paint
but that's
over
not
the
gonna
map
work.
right now.
That's not going to work in my code right now because it's not going to recognize that you've screwed with the map. Like if I change this to out of tile and then I just mess with this area.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
there's a
what if
car
you
there.
just what if you just delete? No, there's a way. If you go in the I think it's not cliffs. The
You mean
yeah,
this?
remove empty chunks. Yeah, that one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it works. See, it works.
It regenerated. Huh, there you
Yeah,
go.
so then we can save up on.
kinda
That
messed
was
it
the whole
up,
point
but-
of the project, to save up on RAM.
Yeah,
So you
like
can have like huge maps.
it already knows what goes there, right? So
Why did it generate so weirdly?
Well, because I broke it on like offset. you
Yeah.
know, like-
It's not lined up with the chunk.
I didn't
But it
do it
like
right.
it filled in such a weird spot, not on the chunk
Yeah,
line.
because you
Because
can't
I
with
didn't
void
break
you
it
can't
and like
replace
on a
it.
chunk.
Oh no, it is
border.
on the chunk lines. Yeah, never
It's
mind.
not on the
Never
chunk
mind.
lines. Like if like all the chunk
Yeah,
lines.
it
are
is.
proper.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I didn't. Okay, that was untested and it actually just worked straight up.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to do the test real quick. I wanted to see if the whole point of the project actually works, and it does.
Well,
Like,
it already knows what goes here, so theoretically it should work. But I never tested that. So like if I
if
remove
you
that
remove
exact and
empty
then
chunk.
I remove, it'll just regenerate.
Whoa! What the f is that?
Oh, that's
What
fun.
did it do there?
I have no idea.
Yo, what is? I mean,
That's
it
fun.
works. It makes it look more abandoned. So don't fix it. It's a feature.
I don't know. I would need to double check what the heck happened.
But
there.
yeah,
But like,
that is
like
weird, though.
this stuff is like untested. Basically, if I actually wanted to do this properly, it
We're
knows, it
playtesting
thinks
as
that
we
these
speak.
chunks have been generated properly. Oh yeah, some weird stuff happened. I don't know. You got some like
On the
carbon
right as well, there was a double sand line on the road.
yeah, like these and
On the bottom right.
yeah, like
Right
that.
there.
And,
Yeah.
I don't know. It did some weird stuff. Again, I've never
Roundabout.
tried that before, so I'm gonna just throw that under the caveat of edge cases.
That's
that I've
really
never
weird.
tested.
What did it even do? How did it happen?
What I think happened here is that it actually tried to place a roundabout tile again, but it placed it like the other road type. So then it put the sand down and put the sand down for like a different parking lot that was slightly off.
Oh yeah, because you can
And
see
then
the
messed it
road
up.
line.
Yeah.
You can see the road line there, like
Yeah, it
the
screwed up.
intersection.
The,
Actually,
it
no,
like
it doesn't
placed
even
it
line
like
up.
double placed the same stuff over top of itself and kind of freaked out. So yeah, the like empty chunks obviously that was completely untested, but like
I mean, it
knows
works,
that
though.
it's placed this, so I would have to tell it that it hadn't placed that tile yet, and then when it goes to place it again, it would just place it the same way. But yeah, obviously some stuff has not been tested. But this is also like a massive map, by the way. This was the 100 by 100 or like 100 radius, so this thing is huge. And looks hilarious because of all the dead ends. This looks terrible.
Oh man, it's gonna be the hardest part is over.
Oh, dude, like having the like multi-sized chunk borders and shapes, and basically that it will work with like Tetris pieces and donuts and all kinds of crazy shapes. That's done. This is literally finished and should work for most cases, at least that I've tested.
Now we're gonna have to just pump out the 3D models and
Now
just
it's
push.
yeah, like now it's 3D models and making the package chunks, weeding out any like weird odds and ends with bugs, and the next big step is map generation, which I don't think I have to work with.
I think
on.
I think for entities, I don't think the graphics are gonna be done in time, so we're probably gonna have to do just like fake entities for now as
That's
I
fine.
keep working
Like
on
we
them.
can put like assemblers
the-
or like if we're gonna end up doing it with train or cargo
Yeah, just like
wagons.
resize vanilla sprites. If you just resize
Yeah.
vanilla sprites, it should work for now.
Yeah, we just throw like cargo wagons around on invisible rails or something like. We can make it work.
And like stretch them out to be the same dimensions as the final buildings.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing is the dimensions of the buildings themselves that we have to figure out. Then we can just like 3D model based off of the dimensions that work visually.
All right, I'm gonna cut OBS and the whole thing here because I think we kind of wrapped that up. So
Yeah.